There's something about watching someone play a game at a level you can't comprehend that just makes you want to believe in them. You see someone do something that looks impossible, and instead of questioning it, you get impressed. Maybe even kinda jealous cause that person found something you didn't. We want prodigies to exist. We need them to exist. Because if someone can just naturally be that good, it means there's something magical about human potential. It means the skill ceiling is actually higher than we thought. And it also means that maybe, if we tried hard enough, we could get closer to it. But what if the person at the top isn't a prodigy at all? In this video, we're going to be looking into 3 players from 3 completely different games: Geometry Dash, Osu, and Minecraft PvP. 3 separate communities that share almost nothing in common. But all 3 of these players were prodigies and they climbed to the top of their game. Or at least, that's how it was supposed to be. Let me introduce you to the first game, Geometry Dash. Geometry Dash is a game that doesn't forgive mistakes. You control a cube or ship or ball or whatever, moving through levels filled with obstacles, and one wrong click sends you back to the very beginning. The hardest levels in the game are called Extreme Demons, which require very precise clicks to beat. Some of them takes hundreds of thousands of attempts to beat, and players spend months, years sometimes on a single level. And in December 2020, a player named spaceuk beat the Golden. At the time, it was the second hardest level in Geometry Dash, an extreme demon that most players who attempt it never finish. However, spaceuk managed to beat it. But this is where things get interesting, because spaceuk's rise didn't follow any normal trajectory. He went from beating his first extreme demon to conquering the hardest levels in the game at a pace that didn't make sense. The Golden, Kyoki, Abyss of Darkness, Slaughterhouse, these are levels that define eras in Geometry Dash. Players build entire careers around verifying just one of them, and spaceuk was clearing them one after another. Each completion video pulled in hundreds of thousands of views and made him a lot of money. So not only was he beating the hardest content in the game, but he was also turning it into a content machine. By May 2022, spaceuk had completed the entire main demon list, every single extreme demon. He was the second player in the entire game's history to ever do it, and the community wanted to believe in him. Why wouldn't they? He was doing things nobody else could do. spaceuk's story would eventually unravel. However, it wasn't the only one. About 1 year later, a completely different game would face the exact same situation. Osu is a rhythm game where you listen to the music, you aim at the circle, and click it on time with the music. This concept seems very simple, but it's that exact same simplicity that allowed players to push the game this far. Osu is one of those games where the ranking system is everything. Millions of players compete for a spot on the global leaderboard, ranked by a metric called performance points. There are optimized ways to farm it, sure, but at the highest levels, PP comes from one thing: being genuinely good at the game. And in June 2024, a player named Cloudiful was sitting at rank 3 globally out of millions of players. However, Cloudiful wasn't some overnight success story. He'd been playing Osu since March 2017. He went by different names before, like Cloudiful, Chudson, Epic Gaming, but regardless, he was climbing through the ranks with his specialty skill set, aim, for years. In Osu, there are multiple skill sets, such as speed, stamina, memory, and more, and aim is one of them, and Cloudiful was very good at it. But then, something changed. He started climbing the ranks fast and started setting scores that made people look twice. The fact that a player who was mainly playing songs that test aim suddenly became really good at speed, a skill set that requires rapid split-second alternation of your fingers, was something like a sign of hope for players who felt like they could only ever be good at one skill set. One run in particular on a song called Snow Goose was so insane that people genuinely started considering him as a contender for Osu's #1 spot. Also, I want you guys to listen to his reaction on this score.
What is that you are? I'm cheating. I'm literally cheating. I'm literally fucking cheating. I'm unironically cheating.
And then he achieved rank 3 in the world, the kind of achievement that takes most players their entire career to even dream about. Now, if spaceuk's story is about speed and Cloudiful's is about consistency, the third one is about something else entirely: control. Minecraft PvP is a completely different world from both Geometry Dash and Osu. and crystal explosions, shield stuns, hitting 360s while hitting your opponent. The kind of gameplay where decisions happen in fractions of a second and the difference between winning and losing is a single split-second hesitation. Sometime in the early 2020s, a player named Marlo emerged in the competitive Minecraft PvP scene. She presented herself as a female player in a community that was mostly male, and she was good. Really good. Her montage videos got hundreds of thousands of views. Her Crystal PvP guide hit over 1 million views. The community ranked her as the best player in the world. But Marlo also had some other things going for her. She owned PvP Club, one of the main competitive servers in the scene. She also created and ran MC tiers, a ranking system that determined who was considered the best. If you wanted to climb the competitive ladder, you played on Marlo's server. And if you wanted to know where you stood, you looked at Marlo's rankings. And if you wanted to prove you were the best, you had to beat Marlo. She ranked herself as tier 1 across multiple categories, the undisputed number 1. And because she controlled every single piece of the infrastructure, the server, the rankings, the rules, there was nobody above her to question it. But here's the thing about players who seem unstoppable. Eventually, someone stops to ask how. On October 2021, a player named Kolo watched spaceuk's Slaughterhouse verification video. By the way, Slaughterhouse was the hardest level in the game during the time, and spaceuk's video showed a clean run. But Kolo noticed something odd. The clicking sounds in the video didn't match what was happening on the screen. There were delays between when a click was heard and when the corresponding action occurred in-game.
And as you can see, there, the kick starts before than on the original audio, so it's shifted. And as you can see, there is some strange click here. So I think it's cut. It's no way that audio is corrupted. I downloaded an original audio from the YouTube. But it suddenly changes, and it happens multiple times.
So, Kolo posted about it. He made videos pointing out the discrepancies frame by frame, showing exactly where the timing didn't add up. He also went to the demon list moderators, the people responsible for verifying records, and told them something was wrong. And though it shouldn't be funny, the way they dismissed him really is. A demon list moderator literally told him on Twitter that he was wrong, with a thumbs up emoji. The reasoning was simple and in hindsight, pretty naive. spaceuk was too good to be cheating, and he was completing the hardest levels in the game. Why would someone at that skill level need to use a bot? The moderators trusted the player's reputation over the evidence in front of them. However, Kolo was right. A headless moderator named Paco decided to also do some digging, and she found that the level complete text in his recordings was 940 pixels wide instead of the standard 1004 pixels. This change is actually a built-in watermark from Zbot, which is a macro replayer for Geometry Dash that only some people knew about. The Osu community would face its own reckoning a few years later, and it came from a place that nobody expected. June 15, 2024. Someone whose name I'd rather not say posted on r/osu report. r/osu report is this subreddit where people can report suspicious players and potentially get them banned. Every speed play that Cloudiful set showed the same exact average circle hold time, which turned out to be around 63 milliseconds. And if you've never played Osu, here's what that means. When you hold the key down, your timing naturally varies. Sometimes you hold for 50 milliseconds, sometimes 70, maybe 55, that's human. But what Cloudiful was showing was a machine. And so, the community started digging. And then people found out that Cloudiful was using a wooden keyboard. Wow, shocking, but that's not actually the bad part. What was bad was a feature called Dynamic Keystroke or DKS. Let me expound upon this information. You might know that Osu uses 2 keys. So what you do here is you set one key to activate when you press down and a different key to activate when you release. So one physical finger press becomes 2 alternating inputs. So instead of you alternating your fingers like you should, you just press down your fingers on the keys at the same time and it takes care of the alternating for you. But here's where it gets complicated. Wooden keyboards are legal in Osu. Rapid trigger is legal. Some people argued this wasn't cheating at all, and others said DKS crossed into macro territory. And then, Cloudiful made a decision that answered the question for everyone. June 17, 2024. 2 days after the Reddit post, Cloudiful uploaded a live play video to YouTube. He was going to prove he was legit and show the community he didn't need any tricks. The video went up, and just within hours, people found out that he was switching keyboard profiles to activate DKS. One of his keys was configured to activate on release. You could see it here. And if you listen to the audio, he's not alternating, he's double tapping, he's pressing the keys at the same time. The next day, he admitted that he was using DKS. But it didn't stop there. The community started wondering if DKS was the only thing he was using. Remember how he was actually good at aim? People started doubting that as well, so they suspected aim assist. However, those were never confirmed, but the doubt was there. 2 years after Cloutiful's exposure, a third community would face the same pattern, and this time the deception went deeper than hardware tricks or fake audio. It went into identity itself. The accusations against Marlo started building in January 2026, not from random trolls, but from actual players who studied the footage closely enough to notice that something was quite off. About a year before all of this happened, a YouTuber named Zay posted a video about Marlo's true identity and how she's an alternate account of a 2v2T player named Danger Mario. But no one really took him seriously. Until now. On March 18, 2026, a YouTuber named Eximity uploaded a similar titled video named The True Identity of Minecraft's Best Player. And inside the video was receipts and proof, but to everyone's surprise, the claim was way more than just cheating. Marlo, the top female Minecraft PvP player, wasn't who everyone thought she was. The first few bits of information I'm about to present isn't really new information, but it's what comes after that. The video alleged that Marlo was actually a male player named Danger Mario, who had been running the persona for 4 to 5 years. Using his naturally high-pitched voice and slightly adjusted in tone, he presented as female in a community that was mostly male. And that made some streamers like Dr. Donut kinda simp for him. But going back, Eximity had evidence like leaked messages showing discussions where Danger Mario talked about setting up the persona, and even early versions of content materials shared months before they went public. Eximity also revealed that Marlo exit scammed the MC Tiers website infrastructure from the jackpot MC owners that spent thousands of dollars on it. However, it didn't end there, because there was something even worse that made the whole thing way darker than anyone would have expected. The video talked about something called the peer plot. According to leaked messages, there was a plan to stage a fake suicide by jumping off a bridge during a group call with friends and other creators. A camera positioned to record the event while facing away from the actual jump. And the narrative of Marlo's suicidal tendencies had been built up through conversations with friends to make it believable. Luckily though, the plan was never executed because Eximity's video came out first. But the fact that it was even planned at all tells you something about how far this could have gone. Here's what I find genuinely interesting about these 3 cases. None of them were caught by official anti-cheat systems. spaceuk was caught because someone in the Demonlist team decided to look deeper into the accusations and actually found proof. Following this, spaceuk confessed on Twitter he admitted to using Zbot for every completion after Sephiroth in May 2022. But then Paco's investigation revealed that the cheating went back to March 2021, a whole year before that. He deleted his channel, but he came back on a new channel under the name BirdUK, where he legitimately beat the Golden and other extreme demons, and it seems like the community has started to accept him back. Cloudiful was caught because someone on Reddit analyzed multiple replays and noticed a statistical pattern that no human could ever produce. DKS isn't officially a macro, but functionally it operated as one because it turned double taps into alternating key presses for you. The OSU rules state that using third-party utilities for advantage isn't okay, and DKS crossed that line, even if it wasn't designed to. The OSU community, however, seems to have moved on more than the others, and though the questions about whether he used additional cheating methods beyond DKS never really got a definitive answer. Marlo was caught because community analysts went frame by frame through gameplay footage and found inhuman inputs that you'd most definitely miss while normally watching her gameplay. Her method was the most intricate, since not only did she use software to gain an advantage in game, but also controlled the entire competitive infrastructure. And when you own the system that's supposed to catch you, you don't need to hide. Marlo also promised an extensive video debunking the claims, however, as of this recording, that video hasn't been released. Finally, in late March 2026, MC Tiers admins blacklisted Marlo from their network. Marlo also resigned from managing MC Tiers but didn't give up ownership and just transferred it to someone else. In every single case, the community caught the cheater, just regular players who cared about the integrity of the game they were playing. I keep coming back to the same thought about these three stories. Each player exploited the same thing, which was the community's desire to believe in exceptional talent. The prodigy narrative, if you will. When someone shows up and does something that seems impossible, we want it to be real because it proves that getting that good, that fast, is possible. However, the systems set in place weren't enough to find these bad actors, so the community has to step up. And here's what I can say about this. The communities that caught these cheaters are the same communities that made those games worth playing in the first place. Regular players, the ones who cared enough to look at replays frame by frame, the ones who noticed that the clicking sounds didn't match the on-screen inputs, and the ones who compiled documents containing evidence of foul play and share them. These people are not official investigators, rather just regular players who spent hours going through footage, scrutinizing them because something didn't feel right and they cared about the integrity of their favorite game. Overall, the power a community has over their game is amazing and I think that's pretty cool. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe for more videos like this, I swear I'm gonna upload more often, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!